And now, the latest hurricane coverage at Hurricane City.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Hurricane Warning Show. Jim Williams here. We'll be with you all throughout the afternoon, on and off with audio updates. What we're going to do for the next several hours here as the eye of Hurricane Gustav comes ashore in southeast Louisiana. As you can see on the HurTrack program, the red inside the red circle are sustained hurricane force winds. They are all over Plaquemines Parish right now. You remember the video.
That is the center of Gustav, getting very close to that National Weather Service line, that forecast track of where it was expected to make landfall. And you can see the rotation moving on inland, so things are going downhill very fast around Cocodrie, but they're going to get into a little calm part here as there's still some ragginess to the eye as it's starting to interact with land. So we're looking at the rain and the thunderstorms picking up all across our Gulf Coast. And so the surge right behind it is a big problem. Matter of fact, we have noticed that the Mississippi River runs right up through here, and a report was right in here that measured a 9-foot surge. That's unofficial. We don't know if it's in the river itself or on the other side of the river in the surge-prone area that pushes up toward New Orleans. We'll have to check on that. But the circulation doesn't appear to be weakening, continues to move to the northwest, and it's going to clip by New Orleans pretty close, so the winds there could still increase. It's not over for you yet. But down to the coast on the south is where we expect the worst wind to be and the highest surge as well.
Aircraft recon reports, we have north winds here 65 miles an hour. There's 69 miles an hour out of the north. Here's 72 miles an hour out of the north. And these are right where my mouse pointer is that I'm reading. So these are right off the coast of southern Louisiana right now. Northerly winds. They're getting offshore winds right now on the south coast of Louisiana. There's a 71 knot wind. That's 81 miles an hour. Wow, there's 79. Actually, these are at 696 millibars. Excuse me on that. These are at 696 millibars, which is around 11,000 feet up in the air. The winds are that strong. Not at the surface. We don't see any surface information here. Let's see. Nope, those are all up in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Now we get down to the surface here, a little bit further offshore. We have north winds at 60 miles an hour. Let's see, we have 43, 51, 60. There's a 68 mile an hour wind out of the north. 73 miles an hour out of the north. There's 77 miles an hour out of the north. There's 80 miles an hour out of the north. And that's the highest we hear. Wait a minute. There's 75, 85. Okay, 85 miles an hour. And that's, let me illustrate where that wind is on the here. And this is right inside this circle. These are about 85 mile an hour winds out of the north, right off the south coast of Louisiana. And that has yet to head. Would be from 7:30 this morning, so that's a little over an hour and a half old, and we had a pressure 957 millibars on the Hurricane Hunter. Surface winds 81 miles per hour. Flight level winds 98 miles per hour. Maximum flight level wind of 91 knots. That's about 105 miles an hour in the northwest quadrant. So that's what they're dealing with right near the shore of southeast Louisiana right now. Now let's take a look at the weather tap radar, and there we are. There's our eye coming ashore just west of Grand Isle, Louisiana, and it's heading towards Morgan City. We're probably going to change our feature to Morgan City, but a word of warning, the links aren't going to change very much because it's basically the same. All the links are based in southeast Louisiana for this storm. Okay, I have the Hurricane City webcam page opened up where all the cams are on one page, and we see that about a third of the cams are now down. Let's go ahead and click on this. This is from Grand Isle, Louisiana. This is the area that's taken probably the hardest hit right now from Hurricane Gustav as it moves in just to the west of here. And if we can get the image to pop, there it is. We still have an image. This is as of, this is current. This is current image from Grand Isle, Louisiana on our webcams, and we can see It looks like there's no storm surge, maybe a little bit. I'm not sure if these are the color of somebody's roofs or if that's water coming in here on the top of the screen. I know it's very difficult to see on your viewer there, but this is an image that's uploading about every couple of seconds, and so far it looks like all the grass is green here and we don't have any storm surge, and this is right on the coast in Grand Isle, Louisiana.
A few days.
Chief, the governor at his last update last night quoted, I think it was you, as saying there were maybe an estimated 10,000 people in the city. Is that your number?
Well, we drove the city yesterday, and I can tell you, personally, myself and my staff, we drove almost this entire city, and we did not see 15 people walking around. We did see several vehicles, but we were certainly sure that they were headed out of town.
Be concerned about. Now, again, I want to show you these palm trees up there coming awful close to the power lines right there. And if you go down a little bit, Don, I want to show the people 2 poles down, you see the power line with the power pole with the transformers on top. Now, that's not a concern because that's really, really starting to sway right now, and that's something to be concerned about. Now, over here across the street from the Fox 8 studios is the old Coca-Cola building. We have received some reports that some of the tiles were coming off of the building. We've been on it for a while now. We haven't seen anything come up yet, but that's also something people are going to want to look at.
From hurricanetrack.com. And those images keep coming in. These are live, actual streaming shots. You can see a little water here, but, windy weather, but overall it looks like New Orleans is escaping the worst of this. And we'll keep an eye on this cam. Let's check out the hurricane.
They have a gauge reading of about 11 feet at the IH&C canal. And so, of course, we're concerned about that level of water in there. But again, most of those walls were tested to the top during Katrina. The other thing you need to note is on those walls there, you have scour protection on the back side of them, so you won't have the erosion or the scouring on the back side that we had during Katrina.
Just wanted to show you a picture of the industrial canal levee when it was being reinforced after Hurricane Katrina. You see the concrete being poured along the side of the wall in this shot, and there's an angle of concrete that jets out from the bottom of this wall. And that's what's holding that water back right now that you saw in that recent shot from CNN of the industrial level canal. The water is overlapping the top of this, and when it does, it pours over this concrete shelf, and then it rolls out to the right or left of the wall. So this is a good reinforcement that they did. We're going to see if this holds up through the next few hours. There's an awful lot of water.
So when you say monitored, the Coast Guard is out there. Are they trying to, is there anything they can do to stop them from banging up against the walls?
Well, we're not sure yet. They're sending some divers over there, but right now we're just trying to identify it and pay attention to it and make sure that if it does cause any more damage that we know about it immediately.
Let me ask you.
I don't know if it's going to do anything except just put a pounding on these levee walls. You can see how hard that water is hitting that levee. I think the concern is that how much of a beating can this levee wall, this stone concrete levee wall actually take? You got to figure hours of this is going to happen for the next few hours. So I think the concern is how much of a beating can this wall take? Hopefully it will be able to take a beating for the next 4 hours and completely hold up, but I think that is the big concern. It's one of those things, I guess you could look at it like a prize fight here. How much of a beating can the boxer take? How much of a beating can this wall on the Orleans Parish side take?
Okay, here's another question. Did they say anything about the barge or the couple of ships that are supposed to be kind of running loose in the industrial canal?
Margaret, we haven't seen any ships on the industrial canal. I can tell you that. Where we are, I'll kind of show you where we are. We're right here right now on the Judge Seaver Bridge. About 500 yards to the left down there is the Florida Avenue Bridge that recently reopened after Hurricane Katrina. There are no barges on this body of water right here that are broken free or that are running free that can do any damage.
Okay, well, that's good news. Now, what about, what have they said?
Did they give us a warning just now? I think the police are telling everybody to be careful just now up here. So I think they're warning everybody, be careful, you're kind of up here at your own risk, if you will. So you can see right now that there is no barge broken free. I looked at the other side to our left over here. I didn't see any barges broken free. If they are, they're not floating around the water, if you will.
Well, that's good news. That's good news. So what was that officer telling you, that it's not safe to be up on the bridge taking the photographs, or that it's not safe because of the water flowing out of the industrial canal?
You know, I'm not going to lie to you, Margaret. It's a pretty interesting, pretty dangerous looking site. So I think that they're telling everybody, there are a lot of members of the media up here right now, so I think they're telling everybody, you guys be careful. If you're up here and this thing pops, and we all hope that it doesn't, we know how fast water is going to flood into this upper Ninth Ward Gentilly area. Essentially, I would have to believe, possibly stranding everybody up on this bridge. So I think they wanted to warn everybody that, you know what, just be careful if you're up here, because if this thing pops, and Margaret, you live in Lake Vista, we all know how quick, when that levee blew on the 17th Street Canal, how quick Lakeview filled up. It was like a bowl. So I think that they're urging everybody that if this levee does not hold up, and we hope that is not the case, we hope that it does hold up, that you guys should be very careful and be smart up here. And I think we are. We're up at a higher level, so therefore, you know...
Okay, folks, you're listening to continuing coverage of Hurricane City's landfall of Hurricane Gustav. We have a shot of the industrial canal when it was being repaired. I was in New Orleans, and we took a look at the industrial canal out here, and you can see in this picture right here, I'll illustrate what this is. There's like reinforced concrete that goes all along the bottom of this wall. From when we were there right after Hurricane Katrina, and they poured these angles of concrete here to stop that wall from tipping over like this. There's almost like concrete butting up against the wall on this side, and that's what's holding that wall up right now. And it'll be interesting to see if this pays off. I thought it was an excellent idea when I saw them doing this, and if this holds up, it's going to be an achievement they're going to have to pat themselves on the back for reinforcing that wall like that. We'll have to see if this plays out. Now let's go back to the coverage.
He keeps getting some shots here. This overtopping that you're seeing is not just happening right here by the Judge Seaver Bridge. The whole wall all the way down to the Florida Avenue Bridge essentially looks like that. That these waves are hitting the whole wall and crashing, and that's probably the biggest concern, that it's not just one select area right here. This is happening to what's essentially the whole wall, from the Florida Avenue Bridge all the way to the Judge Seaver Bridge right here. So therefore, you know, like I said, it's only how much, you know, we have an NBC crew here too, Margaret. Margaret Potter, who's been doing some work from NBC, is going to join us here now. You've done a lot of work covering Katrina and a lot of storms in Miami. Right. Dangerous sight we're looking at here.
Well, absolutely, and you were making the point that water's hitting that wall really hard, and the concern is beyond the overtopping, obviously, right. And the question is whether it breaches. If you go up the bridge just a little farther and look down at that angle, there's a point beyond that pine tree where the water is really rolling over, right, like a waterfall. And that's the area that concerned us, because it was really coming over, and we couldn't tell whether that was just an overtopping or something beyond that. We still think it's an overtopping, right, but obviously that's a big concern.
Scouring from that wave action, but on any circumstances, I mean, this brings back some awful memories of the failure of that system at the Industrial Canal. Of course, if it does fail on the eastern side, the whole lower Ninth Ward would then again be flooded, and a major portion of Araby and St. Bernard Parish would probably be underwater.
Oh, absolutely. And how prepared I mean, this is really what we were afraid of happening, Sheriff. And at this point, the levee has not broken, but to see those absolutely scary, frankly, images of the waves topping the levee there on, again, the New Orleans side of the Industrial Canal. The word that you used was the best word that comes to my mind is just anxiety, as everyone remembers the images we saw 3 years ago. And the question we've been asking after we saw such a proactive approach in getting people out of harm's way, which we do know was such a success compared to what happened 3 years ago. The question we've been asking, Sheriff, is are we...
volume of the work and getting that done as quickly as possible.
Senator Vitter, we're expecting to hear from the President as he addresses the region on Gustav at 11:10. He is going to address this situation that's occurring now with the storm. Right. What do you expect him to say?
Well, I'm sure he's monitoring it very carefully. I think in Austin and is in contact with his top leadership, most of whom are right here on the ground. So I hope that will be reassuring to folks, and I know he's going to, again, commit to respond quickly and efficiently and fully to anything we face through today and beyond.
Senator...
Here at the Industrial Canal, this video is unbelievable that he shot. You can see how it's overtopping over the levee wall right now, and you can see just the pounding that this wall is taking right now by this water.
I really hope it doesn't happen because, as you know, I've worked with people on both sides of that canal for the last 3 years to try to get them back. And what's happening is that the levees that they have there, they clearly aren't high enough. And, in order to do a storm surge through a Category 4, you got to have at least an 18-foot high levee. And what I've been proposing for the...
What we're trying to do at this unstable part of the flood wall is keep water from getting inside the flood wall, inside the HESCO baskets, and that is working. We just talked to Bob Turner with the Southeast Louisiana Flood Protection Authority. They were just here. They looked at it. They say right now the HESCO baskets are doing their job, but that this is a concern for them. These HESCO baskets that they recently filled with sand to give this flood wall some stability. You may remember New Orleans City Councilwoman Cynthia Hedge Morrell vehemently upset that 3 years post-Katrina we are in hurricane season, and now that the Corps has decided to shore up what she says has been an unstable wall from the get-go. To my right, and just west of this flood wall, houses in the Gentilly Woods subdivision, certainly perilously close to an unstable...
Yeah, if we get in the eye... Oh, goodness gracious. 56 miles per hour. It is blasting through here. Holy cow. Never get used to it. No damage yet to speak of. Things seem to be holding together, but this is only in the 50s. Yes. That's just amazing. Close the CP can't get New Orleans. Right now.
Are now getting more and more water even as we speak. It's come up over my feet in the last few minutes.
A very important aspect out there, and they have just been waiting. The Corps, the levee authorities, hoping that wind will stop pushing so hard from east to west, where certainly the surge has gotten into that canal, where probably it has not gotten into other areas. We've been talking to the Corps all night, most day, and in the Houma area all night long. Paul, what's it looking like now?
Dennis, I tell you, it has been a rough morning and afternoon down here in Terrebonne Parish. It had slacked off just a little while ago, so we were able to put our dish up, our satellite dish, to send you back some new video. But wouldn't you know, the wind and rain, they're back. So anyway, let me show you a little bit of Gustav's handiwork here, right near Troop C here in Gray. If Tom could pass, zoom in there on this tree, this crepe myrtle, uprooted, just one of the many trees uprooted by Gustav. Very high winds, hurricane winds pounded this part of the parish for more than 4 hours this morning. And this is what it looked like as the eye wall passed near Gray, Louisiana. The winds were strong enough to rip roofs off of houses and destroy some mobile homes. We're told that some mobile homes on the south end of the parish were destroyed. Gustav peeled part of the roof off of the state police headquarters down here where we rode out the storm, and you could actually see the sky from inside the building through a large hole in the roof and side of the building. The winds also damaged a nearby gas station and blew in the garage door of another building nearby. There was some street flooding, but we're told by Little Caillou Fire Chief Marty Thibodeau that right now, the levees in Montague and Chauvin are holding. The winds are out of the south, so everyone down here is looking to see how the storm surge goes. They're watching the rising tide, hoping it doesn't get too high. Sheriff Vernon Bourgeois tells us, at least for now, Terrebonne neighbors should not re-enter
into one of Homa's poorest neighborhoods. Why you do not want to be in a mobile home during a hurricane. Officers find this one pushed completely off its foundation. Seeing evidence of children, Beatty and fellow officer Dedeveau rush in.
Police department!
Punching through the roof, they move fast, one suffering a small wound, only to learn later that the family had evacuated.